Hola and welcome back to Mexico News Network's breaking news broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma. Remember, we are your #1 source of positive information about Mexico, so follow us on social networks on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Google+, and don't forget to browse for more information through our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com. Now let's move along to more interesting news. Julián de Almeida is a graduate biologist from the University of Buenos Aires who holds a PhD in neuroscience in Barcelona. He received a job offer at Mexican laboratory and needed to be in Mexico for the interview. So, guess what he decided to do? He chose to backpack and reach his job interview, traveling through various countries of the American continent. He went from Bolivia to Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and until he reached Mexico with very little money in order to get into the depths of each country and get to know their people. During his trip, the Almeida first made a blog in which he recounted his stories and his journeys, and after 9 months of traveling, he wrote a book entitled Part of Existence, a Biologist Through Latin America, which features his travel diary. De Almeida stated that he decided to make the trip because he had to finish a series of experiments and also to get a little bit more prepared for his job interview in Mexico. Simply imagine all he went through just for an interview. Incredible. In more news, political cartoonist Lalo Alcaraz recently shared via Twitter his participation in the upcoming Disney Pixar movie, Coco. Now, this decision has surprised many, as the cartoonist is known for being the author of the comic strip La Cucaracha, which has criticized the Disney company many times regarding immigrants in the US. Now, some followers of Alcaraz were quite unhappy because many do not agree with an American company making a movie on a Mexican subject such as the Day of the Dead. However, Alcaraz responded assuring that he will be there every step of the way to make sure the film remains completely true, and even said that he hopes more Latinos are involved in the project in order to ensure more authenticity in the movie. On Mexico's Day of the Dead celebration, held from November 1st to the 2nd, communities celebrate the return of their families and loved ones to the land of the living. Now, this period also marks the end of the annual cycle of corn. People make colorful altars during the season with candles, as well as pan de muerto, and lay cempasúchil flowers to ease the return of souls. This celebration is of Mesoamerican origin and is the result of fusion of pre-Hispanic religious rites and Catholic feasts. Now, in regard to the movie, Pixar confirmed that the making of Coco will be directed by Lee Unrich, who previously directed Toy Story 3. It's expected to premiere on November 22nd of 2017. Now let's talk wittiness for a second, which is something that comes very easy for Mexicans. Enter Garbage Orchestra, an example of where there's a will, there's always a way. A group of young musicians and musical instrument builders who have found the way to make music with objects that are no longer fulfilling their original purposes. They make instruments out of trash. Orquesta Basura, which means garbage orchestra in English, started in December 2008, not with the purpose of making music, but simply to have fun. The group was inspired by the Argentinian group Les Luthiers, who have been building informal musical instruments for over 40 years. So they decided to build their own instruments and make music with them. They have stated that the elaboration process can begin at different points. Sometimes they see an interesting object and transform it, adapt, or even just tap on it to make music. Other times, they simulate an instrument and create one with trash. The last but not least way of creating is by trying to find something that makes the sound that they are actually looking for in particular. By doing so, they've been able to play many genres of music with their vast array of personalized instruments. Now, music, as we all know, is a universal language, something that the group really focuses on, as they are truly unique and honest with their art. They believe that music has no distinction and that it can heal even if it's not in the same language. Garbage Orchestra believe that if you want to play, there are no excuses for not doing so. So if you cannot afford an instrument, you can actually build one yourself. In more information, each and every year, border cities of Mexico and the U.S. perform different activities to promote coexistence between the two nations. One great example of this is volleyball, an annual tradition that takes place between the town of Naco, Arizona in the U.S. and Naco, Sonora in Mexico. U.S. and Mexican citizens use the border fence as a volleyball net, in fact. This tournament is held every April during the famous Fiesta Binacional and aims to strengthen positive transnational relations between both countries. Volleyball has been an important part of this festival ever since 1979, according to Quartz's Jack Flanagan, and has served as an inspiration for similar events in other border cities like San Diego and Tijuana, where volleyball matches are held on the beach. José Lorenzo Villegas, the former mayor of Naco in Mexico, told Reuters in 2007 that this activity represents the celebration of the union of the two nations, and volleyball is proof of the great untapped potential of cooperation on both sides of the fence. Now, this is not the only activity that takes place on the borderline. In January of 2010, a group of autists and activists staged a soccer game on the Mexicali-Calexico border. Other activities that promote the arts are the Fandango Border Festival, which features musicians from Tijuana as well as San Diego, having showdowns of dancing and singing. These border activities serve as an inspiration to many Mexicans and Mexican Americans who seek to think beyond borders. Sadly, this was all for today. Thank you so much for staying with us, broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma. I'm your host, Elisa Carballo, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Google+. Remember, Mexico News Network is your #1 source of positive information on Mexico, so browse through our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com for more information. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.